Benavidez, David Benavidez was scheduled to lose that fight. Early on, Caleb Plant made it very complicated because that was not a brawl, and it was not planned or ever was going to be a brawl, and it exposed an aspect of David Benavidez that has to change, and that is that everybody is not gonna get in there and stand toe to toe, go to the middle of the ring and bang with you. Everybody not gonna go head up. Nobody's gonna sit there. Everybody not gonna sit there in the middle of the ring, put their hands up, and go head up. It's not. That's not. Nobody. Everyone's not gonna do that. So you have to have versatility in your style. You can switch southpaw. You can be unorthodox. You can, but that's not enough. You also have to know how to cut that ring off, how to bait, how to lure people in, so you can do what you want to do. But for the most part, David Benavidez had to bully his way to his victory, because what really did it, and the reason I criticize I'm uncertain about David Benavidez's win against Caleb Plant, because he did it through a clinch. And although Caleb Plant was clinching, it was effective. And I know that can be bothersome. I know that can be frustrating and irritating. You can get real irate, but you got to be composed and disciplined. And there was something that occurred during the clinching that I didn't find to be appropriate or proper or even legal. But he did what he had to do. Because I felt in that clinch, not that I felt, but I seen in that clinch, David Benavidez was using his forearm a lot. Using his forearm to push back and then deliver his shot. And so at the point I seen Caleb Plant hurt was off of a maneuver like that. He had his forearm up in that clinch. He pushed back and he delivered the blow. And so, although Mr. Bayless was interfering in the fight, just intruding on the fight and their ability to establish a rhythm in a battle with each other, the clinching was where David Benavidez was able to be effective in hurting Caleb Plant. Without the clinching and him being able to get gritty and brawl-like in the clinch, because it was really more so like wrestling. And if you have a forearm and a glove all in your face, you don't see what's coming next. But it does present the opportunity for the person that's doing it. So I understand that. But for the most part, it wasn't a brawl, but it was a chess match. And Caleb showed excellent footwork. Excellent footwork. Great defense, but I'll never forget what Charlo said. Charlo said whoever is the most fit, whoever is the most physically conditioned in this fight is going to win. And Caleb Plant got hit with a blow in the clinch, and that's what hurt him. He declined from there. But he still kept his will and his determination with his game plan. But David Benavidez has some significant things to work on. It wasn't a brawl. It wasn't a fight of the year. It wasn't a fight that really had anything spectacular to draw from it, because nothing phenomenal, like no phenoms happened. But what was the one thing that was spectacular about this fight was that the fact that Caleb Plant complicated the entire match for David Benavidez, and he started to make David Benavidez uncomfortable. And now you could tell David Benavidez had an image. He had a vision in his head about how this fight was going to go and how Caleb was going to come out. And so Caleb lured him with the talk, with all that aggression, with all that animosity. But then his game plan was to stay at bay and to hit him with combinations. And the fact that Caleb Plant was able to hit him with those combinations, the way in the fashion he did, that is what made the fight a spectacle. Because David Benavidez, we know he loaded up. But Caleb Plant is unloading these combinations. And so it got to a point where it's like, okay, well, it's only so many combinations he can take before that start to have an effect. And possibly Caleb Plant have a chance of knocking David Benavidez out. But David Benavidez imposed his weight. He imposed his will. And when it comes to the clinching, like I said, it wasn't proper, it wasn't the cleanest, but it was allowed, it was permissible. And that's really all everybody wanted, was a fight. A pure, clean, hard fight, battle. And that's what it was. And Caleb Plant, he stood on his feet to the end. He stood on his feet to the end. You gotta respect him for that. David Benavidez, you showed determination, but David Benavidez did not show any skill. And that's the thing. You took advantage of the clinch. He took advantage of the clinch, but he didn't show any real boxing IQ to be able to bait Caleb or use Caleb's game plan against him. Because you can do both. You know, box with the boxer and then insert your power. Throw the same shots he throwing, but you have the power. So, all in all, it was a great fight. Great fight. Not a fight of the year, but great fight nonetheless. And David Benavidez, he conquered. He conquered. We can't take that away from him. Can't take that away from him. Hey, so, you know, he the champ. He the champ, and that can't be taken away from him. But, you know, he definitely should. I would definitely like to see Caleb Plant fight others. David Benavidez is kind of, you know, put some ruins in his career path from here on out. But I would definitely like to see Caleb Plant continue to fight other reputable prospects and people that are up for mandatories and just in the rankings that deserve a shot. And you know, coming off a knockout, that was pretty decent for him to go all 12 and stand on his feet with a busted nose and all. But David Benavidez, go ahead, get in there with Charlo. Leave Canelo alone, because Canelo is dishonorable. Canelo is dishonorable. And the Dimitri Bivol guy, he really showed us Canelo's pedigree when he fights somebody who has superior boxing skills. And now we understand why we haven't seen Canelo in the ring with certain fighters. But Charlo, Benavidez, let's solidify it. Why not?